This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitsky. We begin with big news for Californians struggling amid the pandemic. Governor Gavin Newsom has announced the state is expanding the Golden State stimulus to more families. According to Newsom, 2 out of every 3 Californians will now be able to receive a stimulus check of at least $600, and families with kids would receive an additional $500. Those eligible must make less than $75,000 annually. This expansion is the biggest state tax rebate in U.S. history. And in your 17 Crime Watch, it's been nearly 2 weeks since an accused child killer escaped from jail. Tyrone Johnson and David Palms escaped the Lerdo jail April 28th. Both are accused of killing 3-year-old Major Sutton in 2017. Palms was tracked down and arrested in Shafter later that same day, but there's still no sign of Johnson. Officials say Johnson is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him, but call 911. Bakersfield police are cracking down on street racing in our community. Police gave out nearly 50 tickets and impounded 20 cars in a street racing bust on Saturday night. Officers say they were called to break up illegal street racing in the Bakersfield area Saturday evening into Sunday morning. First responders seized a gun and recovered a stolen vehicle in addition to arresting 4 people. Well, new at noon, we've learned the person who was killed in a crash that happened in Lebec was a Bakersfield man. Now, according to CHP, it happened just after 5:45 Saturday morning along Interstate 5 near the rest area. Officials say 20-year-old Anthony Sanchez crashed through a fence, causing that vehicle to overturn. According to the coroner's office, Sanchez was not wearing his seatbelt at the time of the crash. CHP is investigating if drugs or alcohol were factors in that crash. Now from our 17 follow-up file, today marks 140 days since 4-year-old Oren and 3-year-old Orson West were reported missing from their home in California City. The Bakersfield Police Department has not reported any new developments, but say they have not given up the search. If you have any information about the missing boys that might be useful to investigators, you can remain anonymous and call the Secret Witness Hotline. That number is 322-4040. You can find all the latest updates on this story on our website, kget.com. Now in your 17 Court Watch, the man accused of torturing and killing another man in the case what's now known as the Bakersfield 3 is back in court today. Matthew Queen and Bailey Despot, another member of the Bakersfield 3, are charged with torturing and killing Michael Holzenbake in 2018. Police Detective Chad Garrett testified today, stating Bailey Despot had threatened to kill Holzenbake. According to a witness who spoke with the detective, Holzenbake's arm was found in the Kern River in 2018, but the rest of his body has never been found. Queen's preliminary hearing started late last week with witness testimony. The preliminary hearing for Queen is expected to finish up today. A judge will then decide whether there's enough evidence for a trial. Meantime, Michael Caleb Reed, the man who led law enforcement on a chase through Southern California last month, is expected to appear in court this afternoon. Reed was previously named a person of interest in a deadly shooting on March 28th in Oildale, but the district attorney's office has not filed murder charges against him. This despite Reed being booked by the sheriff's office for the death of 40-year-old Michael Lewis. According to the DA's office, the murder case was sent back to KCSO for further investigation. Well, now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic in Kern County. Kern Public Health reported 21 new COVID-19 cases today and no new deaths. 1,373 people have died from the virus since the beginning of the pandemic. State data shows there are 31 people in the hospital with the virus. 9 people remain in the ICU. Public Health is reporting that Kern County has 15 cases of the B.1.1.7 variant that originated in the United Kingdom and 1 case of the B.1.351 variant first spotted in South Africa. Well, it's last call for anyone wanting to get a free COVID-19 shot at Cal State Bakersfield. The mass vaccination site will close this week as it transitions to mobile clinics. One of the operators of the site, Kaiser Permanente, says the new targeted clinics will be up and running throughout Kern County early next month. Now, the hospital says it hopes the mobile clinics will take vaccines directly to communities to help remove barriers and fight vaccine hesitancy. If you want to get a shot at CSUB, you will have until Friday to get your first dose. And Lamont residents will have a chance to get vaccinated this week. A vaccination clinic will be held Thursday from 1 p.m. to 5:30 at Nueva High School. Anyone 16 and older is welcome and walk-ins are accepted. Organizers ask that you please wear a mask and socially distance yourself from others while at that clinic. Now to an update on the drought situation in Kern County. Last week we told you the U.S. Drought Monitor declared all of Kern County in an extreme drought. Well, tomorrow supervisors will consider declaring a local emergency due to the severe water shortage. If approved, the resolution will seek immediate assistance from the state and ask the Newsom administration to transfer emergency water supplies to Kern. According to county leaders, Kern already is dealing with the effects of lack of water. The Kern River runoff is far below normal, and the governor's office announced earlier this year it expects to deliver only 5% of requested water supplies to local farmers and growers. If you would like to watch as supervisors consider the resolution, that meeting will get underway at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Today marks the beginning of Peace Officer Memorial Week, and on Thursday, the Sheriff's Office is honoring members who lost their lives while in service. Their ceremony is open to everyone and will begin at 10 a.m. at the Sheriff's Office Memorial Monument at KCSO's headquarters. The Sheriff's Office says deputies will be wearing black mourning bands over their badges in observance. Flags at KCSO building will be flown at half-staff. Meantime, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is searching for new recruits for its cadet unit. Formerly known as the Explorer Post, the cadet unit is designed to give people a glimpse into the world of law enforcement so they can decide whether they want to pursue a career in it. The Sheriff's Office is hosting a recruiting event where participants will take a basic written test, participate in an oral interview, and participate in a basic physical agility test. It's this Saturday, May 15th at 8 a.m. at Standard Middle School on North Chester. More information plus how to reserve your spot, that's on our website, kget.com. Just click on the hot link icon. Well, Bakersfield Fire Department is welcoming a familiar face as Deputy Chief.
It's a beautiful thing when we can promote from within. I agree. And I just want to congratulate you on your next move to Deputy Chief, partner.
Thank you, Chief. I really appreciate it.
Kevin Albertson now holds the Deputy Chief of Special Services title. Albertson's duties include overseeing arson, hazmat, and EMS situations. Albertson is replacing Trevor Martinison's position after he announced his retirement 2 weeks ago. Albertson says it is a group effort that keeps BFD running smoothly.
We're all one big team, so it's not just me drawing from my knowledge. I have 3 other colleagues in there. I have 8 BCs out in the field, 200 sworn firefighters, and we're going to take all their knowledge, all the knowledge of the other deputy chiefs and the fire chief, and we're going to take that knowledge and get the best knowledge out there and apply that to the department. So
Albertson says he is excited to work with the other chiefs to help make the department an even better place. Well, throughout the past year, we've seen the effects of the pandemic hit every industry. Work, love, and commitment were tested in many ways. According to reports in 2016, the wedding industry brought in $72 billion. But last year, that all changed. 17's Ileana Capian has more.
The pandemic put a veil on lots of things last year, including the wedding industry. As the virus spread worldwide, events quickly began to cancel, and before long, brides and grooms were having to hang up plans while changing everything about what they expected the happiest day of their lives to look like.
May 23rd, 2020 was first.
November 10th, 2020, and then July 10th, 2021. And now we've decided to cancel until we can have some kind of a solution.
3 dates later, the wedding of their dreams has been put off indefinitely. Shannon and Connor live in London, but their story is not much different from many couples in the States. But brides and grooms-to-be weren't the only ones facing heartbreak. Bakersfield wedding planner and event coordinator Tracy Miller says last year was something no one could plan for.
Most of our businesses had to stop. Unfortunately, some closed, but the work never stopped. We still had a wedding to plan, and we still had to figure out what we were going to do for our clients.
Planning and replanning with no certainty, causing some couples to postpone or cancel altogether, a financial burden for them and wedding vendors. Miller says she had about 20% of her clients cancel, another 20% decide to have micro weddings on private property, and about 60% of clients postponed.
We knew that all of the wedding industry has been suffering, and if we didn't have to take back our deposit, we didn't want to. I know that it's been hard on us, but it's been even harder on them.
With vaccines out and COVID cases dropping, there is a glimmer of hope for wedding season once again.
Right now, it's wild. because of the pandemic last year, we're doing double, if not quadruple time, because we have weddings that postponed from last year to this year. And then, of course, our, already booked 2021 couples. So we're doing double.
Now, wedding season in Kern County is typically seen in the spring and fall, but because so many businesses had to postpone last year amid the pandemic, this year you may hear the wedding bells ringing a little more. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.